What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oleksandr Usyk. Update, as you guys know, as I promised you, I will come with the full story on what happened with Oleksandr Usyk in Poland at the airport, okay? And this is how it goes. Alex Krusuk, which is his manager, said that Usyk and a friend were taking a flight from Krakow to Thessaloniki, okay, and were tired following an 11-hour drive. Usyk had a priority queue for the boarding, and his friend had a general queue, okay. While waiting for boarding, Oleksandr's friend fell asleep on the seats in the waiting area. After the announcement of the start of boarding, Usyk woke up his friend and said that he would wait for him at the exit. After passing the airport and boarding pass check, Usyk was left to wait for his friend. It all started with this. Employees of the airline somehow strangely established the condition of the other Oleksandr Usyk's friend as deep alcoholic intoxication and did not allow him to board the flight. Usyk began to find out the reason for the denial with Ryanair employees, but they refused to give him an explanation, calling the police. As the situation escalated, Usyk refused to fly without his friend and would not leave the boarding zone until the Ukrainian diplomacy arrived to stop or to smother the tension. Having been threatened by police with handcuffs, Usyk willingly put his hands out and the policeman handcuffed the heavyweight star. According to Krusuk, an unpleasant conversation took place between police and airline employees, although by this point, the Consul General of Ukraine had arrived as the employees gave their explanations of the event. It is difficult to say whether the lunar eclipse clouded the consciousness of the employees of the airline and the police, or the desire to get to know the outstanding heavyweight champion. However, we can definitely say that the Poles celebrated the anniversary of Usyk's victory over Glowacki in, I don't know, somewhere in Poland in 2016 in a unique way. So let me counterpunch. I know what went on now. I now understand what happened. Usyk was just being a good friend. That's all he was really doing. And another thing, protocol of the airports, once you pass and you board and you pass, okay, and you're in the terminal to go to the airplane, so you're just being a good friend, man. The protocol of airports, once you scan your ticket, right, and you're past the check-in, okay, so you're in the terminal headed to the airplane, you can't, here's the problem, you can't go back, okay, and that's the problem. And I think they handled it wrong. I know they did, but it's just protocol of the airport. You know, and the unpleasant conversation went when they told him, no, you know, he's not going on and we don't have to tell you anything. And really by law, you know, of any law, they don't, because that's not one of his family. That's not no one that he's related to. You know what I mean? That's a friend of his. But at the end of the day, though, his friend had his own board pass. He paid for his own ticket. You know what I mean? He had a general boarding pass. Usyk had a priority, you know, two different people, two different tickets. So what happened when they seen him drunk getting on the plane, they refused to let him in, which is a dickhead move, because where the hell is he going? He ain't driving. You know what I'm saying? All he's going to do is probably sleep like he was on the outside, right? In the waiting area. So they didn't have to do that. They were just being pricks. That's all that really was. Okay. That's all that really was. They were just being pricks. You know, and Usyk being a good friend, like, no, I'm not leaving without my friend. I'm not leaving without him. and I believe they were on that 11-hour drive together. I'm assuming Oleksandr Usyk drove, right? And he probably got drunk and, got, more than a little tipsy. And I think that's what happened. But for them not letting him on the plane, that's what you do. You go to airports. If you're going to wherever, they were going to Greece, right? That's in Greece. So that's that. You go and you get, you have a few beers or 4 or 5 or 6. You know what I mean? I know, right? So that's what happens. And my thing, and here's my thing about Usyk, okay? The authorities were being pricks. They didn't allow him by their protocol not to tell him anything since he's already went on the plane. What he could have done, Usyk, he could have stayed there and helped his fucking friend get up. Made sure he checked in and helped him. You know what I mean? I know he had priority. I understand that because there's a process. But if you had all that energy to say, I'm not leaving without him, you shouldn't even checked in. You should have waited until he got there, and with his general pass and then went in with him. They weren't going to leave him. You know what I mean? He just made sure, he made that flight because a lot of times they'll try to close the gate. But if there's already somebody there, how many times have you went to the airport and you were damn near late and you were group 2? You know what I mean? But you barely missed it because you got right behind group 8 or 9. You know what I mean? General boarding or, So that's that. He should have stayed with his friend. That all could have been eradicated. By him just, what, nah, bro, you kind of drunk or whatever, But he did wait, being a good friend. But, of course, he didn't know it was going to get that shitty. He didn't. He didn't know it was going to get that shitty. And how was he supposed to? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that was real tacky on their behalf. But I do understand what happened is not necessarily a problem with him. It was just what he refused to do. He wasn't going to get on the plane without his friend. But what happened? He ended up leaving with his friend eventually. So, he stayed true to his word and he flew out with his friend. Nothing more, nothing less. You guys tell me what you think about this explanation of Oleksandr Usyk being detained. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!